G'day, Michael here. It just dawned on me that I use my design computer in a way that's probably fairly rare, um, fairly unique. Now so you can see this video is basically super duper wide, so it doesn't match like the HD video aspect ratio. And you can see down the bottom here there's a whole lot of what looks like maybe just icons to say a Windows or a Mac user, and it looks pretty, I don't know, maybe pointless until you understand how it ticks. But let's just, we'll try and describe it. So you can see this little bit of a highlighted area here. I've just got the mouse circling it. That little rectangle represents my screen recording, Voco screen recording package. Now the next screen, you can see there's a VeriCAD logo, if you're familiar with it. So I'll click on that. And you can see this little rectangle here corresponds to the DOS in a box, and this one corresponds to VeriCAD. And then there's a couple of blank ones, and then there's, on this screen we've got Firefox running, we've got Thunderbird running, and I've got a terminal window running. Next one I've got a file browser. There's another blank one, and the next one's got system monitor, and you can see the CPU usage is, it's dancing around a fair bit. I've got a lot running on this machine, but I suspect the screen recording's chewing a little bit of CPU time. Then I've got a whole lot of like slicer icon, and then a Firefox icon, slicer icon, Firefox icon. But you notice as I move along, it says workspace whatever number. Just hold it there for a second. Workspace 13. Now I've labelled that one hi-hat. See that? Now, so you can label the workspaces if you like, and you can see that one is labelled hi-ha. Now I could go through, and I only did that as an experiment to see how the labelling works, and I'm pretty happy with that idea. So I can actually, let's just click on workspace hi-ha, and what I've done is I've labelled it that because here I've got the hi-ha slicer running. Now what I mean by that is I've set up multiple users on this machine, and Linux allows you to use simultaneously, many users can use the machine at the same time, and everything they do is separated, RAM wise, drive wise, everything's separated to different permissions. Now this is nothing like switching users in Windows. I'm not sure how Apple works, so I haven't really played with that feature on Apple, but in any case Linux allows you to run multiple users simultaneously. Now I'm actually using the desktops that is logged in as Michael. How many have I got here? I think I've got 15 or something. Yeah, 15 workspaces. And I'm using, because I have 6 printers, so I might have 6 of them tied up with these printer arrangements. But in any case, I've got a user for each different printer so as to manage the profiles better. Now you can see up here on the hi-ha profile, I've got a print setting for PETG. Now the print settings for PETG will be a little bit different to the print settings on another printer for PETG. For a start, this has got a 0.4mm tip, it's got a lower wattage output, also things like stringing changes and retractions changes with tip diameter. So just having a PETG profile for your motion and a PETG profile for your filament, and then your different printer platform, those profiles are too simple. So that's why I've separated the slices into individual users. So when I have the hi-ha set up for PETG, that PETG configuration will work for the hi-ha printer. So having these different profiles is too simple if you're trying to manage multiple printers with one slicer, switching between your your various profiles. You can't just say I'm going to work with this printer or another printer and keep those other two profiles the same, because they're quite different. And I found that I was forgetting that too much, and that's why I went for this process of having separate users. Anyhow, so you can see here's the slicer on the left-hand screen, and Firefox running the monitor on the right-hand screen. We'll go to the next desktop, and here you've got, let's just click on that, it says slicer as Delta, and we're looking at the Delta's monitoring. Let's have a look at the camera. I'll just zoom in a bit so you can see it's a pretty ugly looking view. It's looking down because I've got no room for the camera to sit in that space, so it's kind of looking down through the printer. Alright, now what's the next desktop? You can see here it's running as Prusa. So this slicer is running as the user Prusa. Even though I'm actually logged into this whole desktop as the user Michael, I can run software as other users. Alright, so here's the slicer for Prusa, and I've got here print settings ASA profile, and the filament material is ASA. And I don't know what that's all about, that I've named it that, but in any case, that's the printer profile. Okay, I must have set up something. Let's see what I've done there. Printer settings. Might have had to do with retraction. Yeah, it's probably a retraction. There you go. So I've made that profile. Here you can see exactly what I'm saying, that you use different profiles for each printer for each different material, and the characteristics are so different that it's too simple to try and use these profiles. And if you're using the one slicing program and you're using different printers, you've got to remember all these ins and outs of each different printer. So that's why I've set these up as separate users. Now let's go to the next one. Here we've got TiVo. So I've got the TiVo's machine here, sorry, the slicer here, and on the right hand side you can see the monitor of it. So I've got basically a slicer and monitor pair for each workspace, and of course I've got other workspaces that I can do whatever I need to with. Well, I guess that's about it. I mean, just to show you what I mean about, you can see this icon here. If I grab Spotify and move it around, you can see it moving across the workspace. In this location here, you can see the icon move around. So it gives you an idea of how that represents a workspace. Then we go to the next workspace, which we cleared. There's nothing running on it. As soon as I launch something, I don't know, what have we got? Let's say I'll launch QCAD. There we go, let's do that. And you can see that appeared here on the workspace indicated on the bottom. Now to change the preferences, you just right click Preferences, and if I go down there, you'll see that I've got the HiHa label down there. If I get it to show the workspace names, I've got too many workspaces enabled, so there's just words everywhere. So it's too complicated. So it's very hard to see. But yeah, so you can do whatever you needed to do, but I haven't bothered with that. Yeah, very confusing for me. Where is it? Now I've got to find that workspace because I lost my imagery. Where is it now? Preferences in. Where are we? Can't see it. Where are we? So as you can see, the labelling was a bit of a pain for me. There we go. Close. Okay, so there's other options too with that, but in any case, they're the primary things that I use, and yeah, I find it very, very useful. I can't imagine not having this, having multiple different types of printers, and not having this facility would drive me insane. Like I couldn't go to Windows or Apple for this job. Well, I guess that's it. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, ask a question, leave a comment.